With most people trying to get rich, it seems like everyone on social media has a solution. Buy this, follow that, buy this crazy poop token, buy a JPEG of a monkey, and a bunch of other crazy stuff like that. It seems like a never-ending stream of the next thing that will make you rich just goes and plays completely on repeat, or to basically put it another way, get rich quick, which always leads to staying broke in the end. So I decided I'm going to approach this from the exact opposite direction. I'm actually going to tell you the 6 things you need to stop doing to actually get rich. Because even if I gave you 69 secrets to getting rich, if you keep doing these 6 things, those 69 things wouldn't work. And I'm sorry, it's going to get a bit personal, but I'm bringing you guys the truth. Not a bunch of hype and hopium that never works out in the end. I'm bringing you guys the truth. So number 1 is to stop being scared of risk. The riskiest thing you can do is take no risk whatsoever. I mean, you want to guarantee inflation eats all your money? Put it in a savings account instead of investing your money over the long term. Want to ensure you never make $1 million a year? Then never start a business and keep on working for a wage where you are guaranteed to never make that much money in a year. You want to be exactly like the 99% instead of the 1%? Then keep right on taking the safe route of getting a job, getting a house, buying 2 cars, having 2 kids, 2 dogs, and a white picket fence. By doing exactly that, you will feel safe even though you are actually taking on the most risk. You will have more debt and no ability to earn an outsized income to pay it off, which means even if you want to invest, you cannot at all or not to the level needed to actually build wealth. One of the biggest lies in modern society today is that breaking away from the 99% is risky, when in actuality, the riskiest thing you can do is stay in the 99% and do exactly what everybody else is doing. Which leads me perfectly into number 2, and that is not leveraging your job and having a side hustle going. One of the best things about having a job is that it can sustain you while you get your side hustle going, basically relieving the pressure of having to make short-term decisions to just pay the bills, which when you go to build a business, that's one of the worst things you can do is make short-term decisions instead of long-term plays that actually build the business for the long term. Your job is giving you the perfect opportunity to get that side hustle going so you don't have to worry about the bills and it can instead build out the side hustle for a sustainable long-term business. For example, if you wanted to be a YouTuber, it takes on average 6 months to a year to just get monetized being a YouTuber. And that is exciting until you realize your first YouTube check is like $12 or something like that. It's hardly enough to replace your income, but it's a start and you don't have to worry because your job is taking care of the bills, so the money doesn't matter. You can just continue to cultivate relationships with your viewers, get better at actually making videos, and learn all the various business opportunities that can eventually come your way with a YouTube channel that can replace your job in the future. The process is actually very similar regardless of what type of business you're looking to start, and I just use YouTuber as an example there, but it's very similar regardless. I mean, look at a dog walking business, for example. It's not going to blow up tomorrow, and that couldn't be any different from being a YouTuber. But I know it's going to take time to build it, but it can be $1 million business. And yes, I'm actually being serious, it can. There are videos right here on YouTube showing exactly how it's done, exactly what the numbers are, and exactly how somebody turned dog walking into a multi-million-dollar business. Literally anything you can think of can be turned into a great business if you have time to do it right, and that right there is where leveraging your job will give you the time to actually do it right. And speaking of time, number 3 is to stop spending your time unwisely. I seriously just finished watching Michael Jordan's Last Dance documentary last month, and that came out in 2020, which is almost 3 years ago. It may even be over 3 years now. I'm not exactly sure when it came out. Yeah, I was aware of it back then, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. It took me that long to finish, not because I was watching Game of Thrones, not because, football got in the way or anything else like that. I simply prioritized spending my time growing my businesses instead of watching TV, and over the course of those 3 years, that honestly was all the extra time I could allocate to watching a TV show, so it took me 3 years to watch the 10 parts of that series. Now, when I have this discussion with people, I don't think it's intentional, but they end up lying to themselves about the actual time that they spend and how they actually spend it. And when we go a little bit deeper and I ask them, hey, let's learn about investing, let's learn about starting a business, whatever the case is, they say they don't have time to learn to invest or start a business, but they can absolutely tell me what's going on with their favorite team in every sport, what is going on in politics, what is going on with family members and friends, and actually people that aren't even their friends on social media, and what all is going on with the latest hot TV show. And no, it's not usually one show, because you watch a couple shows with the kids and then a couple with your spouse, and of course you need time to yourself, so you have your own special shows too that you like to watch by yourself. That is a lot of hours every week spent watching TV, on social media, whatever the case is. It's a lot. And unfortunately, guys, there's actual data to back all of this up. The average person in the US spends 2.5 hours a day on social media alone. That is 17.5 hours a week you could be spending on your side hustle instead of on social media. Oh, and don't worry, it actually gets worse. The average person in the US spends 3 to 4 hours a day watching TV. That is another 21 to 28 hours per week. So the average person is spending as much time watching TV and on social media as they are at actual work. It's basically another full-time job, except you aren't being paid a dime to do so, nor are you building up skills that will make you money in the future. So in most cases, saying you don't have time is simply not true. You just don't want to spend the time there. If you have never done an actual time audit and accounted for every hour over the course of a month, chances are you fall somewhere in the averages that we just discussed, because you wouldn't know because you haven't done that time audit to actually see, and everybody is shocked by their numbers whenever they're actually truthful and they're actually honest with trying to get their answers. And what is worse is most people don't even know that they're in that situation in most cases until they do that time audit. That is all time that is wasted versus being spent on getting you closer to being rich. So number 4 is to stop living outside your means. And this is one of the biggest wealth killers, if not the biggest, that's out there. There are plenty of millionaires who are teachers or middle managers or postal workers or any number of normal jobs that basically everyday folks actually do. They're not entrepreneurs, they're not executives or athletes or famous people, just basically normal everyday people that have managed to build themselves up into millionaires. And in every one of those situations, that was done by living below their means. But I don't know a single wealthy person who doesn't live within their means and made that a priority before ever making money. So they were doing it when they were making 20K, 50K, 80K a year, long before they ever got rich. And on the flip side, I know people who make $500,000 to $1 million a year and are actually dead broke. They are no closer to being a millionaire than the kid sacking your groceries or the waitress at the restaurant where you last ate at, or anybody else like that. If you cannot live within your means at $50,000 a year, you won't do it at $100,000 and then $200,000 and so on. I have seen this repeatedly again and again throughout time. And to say something like, if you had as much money as so-and-so, then you would live below your means, and you don't live below your means right now is honestly not true. And once again, the numbers are actually against you. There will always be a bigger house or a nicer neighborhood or better schools for your kids or safer schools for your kids or a safer car, or that you and your family really deserve something great, and a lot of other things like that that put you in a spot where you're now living above your means once again. Those that actually want to be rich and get there live below their means before ever becoming rich. So on to number 5, which is to stop investing in things that you don't understand. Now, I agree, owning stocks is a great way to build wealth. I have another channel dedicated to that all by itself. That's all we talk about, is using stocks to build wealth. I also agree that real estate is one of the best wealth generators in the history of the world, and I own a lot of real estate as well. But you must take the time to understand those investments before investing in those assets. If you do not, you will fall into the trappings of the 99% once again and actually fail as an investor. If you don't know how to value a stock, do due diligence on a company, understand the opportunity with the company, what is the total adjustable market, you're not listening to earnings calls, reading the 10Ks and a ton more, then you end up in a situation that many find themselves in, where you're basically YOLOing into a penny stock or other high-risk stocks at the height of the stock craze in 2021, for example, only to see your money get cut down by 80%, 90%, or in some cases actually losing it all during that time frame. Stocks can be great investments, but you must put in the time to understand them intimately, and that takes time. And I mean a lot of time. But it's much easier to watch a YouTube video and then go YOLO options with GameStop instead of that route, which is the one that many people take instead of learning, because one is fast and one takes a lot of time and is a lot harder. It's the same with real estate too. I personally distinctly remember getting told by friends and family and coworkers that I was an idiot for not buying real estate in all of 2007 despite being a real estate investor. Now, I had no idea what was coming. I just knew the numbers didn't work, so I wasn't buying properties at that time. And then just 2 years later, when you could buy property for pennies on the dollar, I was crazy to be buying real estate and was stupid, because real estate is a terrible investment despite it being the opportunity of a lifetime for a real estate investor. And of course, come back to today, and according to those same folks in all those situations, I just got lucky in both instances. The actual truth is that I understood the investment just like a lot of other folks did, and all the folks criticizing and saying everything else did not understand the investments. Make sure you only invest in things that you understand, and it's okay to not understand it all up front. Pick one of those investment vehicles that interest you and kind of dive in, and then you will set yourself up for a lifetime of better investing. Even if you never move beyond that investment class, you're setting yourself up for life. And finally, number 6 is to stop buying into get-rich-quick schemes. Now, I hear you right now, you're basically saying, hey, Luke, I would never do something like that. And you're right. This one seems easy, but it's actually not, because human nature is to get rich as quick as possible. And sometimes it honestly happens, which kind of reinforces that kind of feeling that you're going to have. But 99.9% of the time, it's complete fool's gold. You know, kind of like that can't miss NFT or penny stocks like we just discussed, or that property in the middle of the valley in a small dying town that only has 200 people, but somehow our investors are out there telling me it can support a new neighborhood full of $500,000 homes that, according to the builder, were going up in value $100,000 every year, so I better buy fast. That is actually a true story, by the way. I was pitched that exact investment in 2007, and it was easy to walk away from it, to be honest. But others lost their shirts because all reason had left and had been replaced by basically the big number of $100,000 in easy money being made. If it requires virtually no work and makes you a ton of money fast, there might be a problem there, and instead of getting excited, I would get real cautious. I have both friends and family that have spent a lifetime chasing various get-rich type of investments, and they are no better off today than they were 30 years ago. They would actually be rich if they had just put all that money that they had put into all those schemes into just a basic index fund instead and done nothing else except stop doing all 6 of these things. Now, I agree, our system is broken, and this channel is about showing you the real truth behind finance, retirement, entrepreneurship. So make sure you subscribe, because whether you're 25 or 65, this absolutely applies to you. So thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.